the show. We about to chop it up. Come to the show. We got some things we can talk about. Come to the show. We about to chop it up. Come to the show. We got some things we can talk about. Chop it up. Chop it. Chop it. Chop it. Chop it up. Chop it. We got some things we can talk about. Chop it up. Chop it. Chop it. Chop it up. Chop it up. Chop it. We got some things we can talk about.
You are now tuned in to the Chop Shop with your host, Pastor Marvin McKenstry Jr. Let's chop it up.
Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever time it might be. You are on live with the Chop Shop, y'all. We come to you every Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm excited tonight because we got two powerful brothers that's going to be sitting down and chopping it up with us. But before we get into any of that, I got to bring on my right hand and my left hand, my main man, Mr. Shaka Pitts on the ones and twos, always behind the scenes making the magic happen. Techniques 1200, because anything else is uncivilized. Shaka, what's going on, man?
Good, brother. How you doing, Marv?
Man, these headlines, man. That's what these headlines, man.
Listen. I know what the people don't know, man. This brother is fired up right now, y'all. So,
man,
my man is ready to go right now.
Listen, it's been one thing after another, man. We just heard today that. So last month we wrote it on the term limits here in Baltimore for politicians. We just found out Ryan Dorsey is introducing a bill to change the charter to get it on the ballot to go and repeal what the people just overwhelmingly voted for. It was not even close, man. It wasn't even close, and he's writing something to repeal. It just seems we're going to talk about it with Jovani tonight, man. How you living, man? How you living?
Listen, man, I'm good, man. I'm turning the corner, man. I'm all right, man. I ain't about to complain about nothing, Marv.
Man, I hear life in your voice, man. You looking and you sounding good.
That's what's up, man. Appreciate it. I received that, man.
Look, I need y'all to like, love, and share this broadcast. Share. Tag somebody's name in the comments. We want to make sure that we get people on here tonight because, again, we got two awesome brothers that's going to be on here sharing tonight. Y'all see a pattern emerging. We got the first half hour of Baltimore City segment, then the second half hour a Kingdom segment with a Baltimore City leader. So I need y'all to make sure that we load it up and get in here. Before we go anywhere else, we're going to get into these church announcements. As always, we kick the church announcement off with the Stop the Beef hotline, y'all. We ain't going to never stop because until we see the kind of change that we need to see in the city of Baltimore, I need you to call 443-431-3705 or 443-522-7848. If you know anybody that's in harm's way, the Minute We Are Us movement will come and we will respond accordingly. We've done everything from pay debts to put people on planes, trains, and other automobiles to get them out of here if they're in harm's way. Walking hand in hand with it is the Baltimore Peace Agreement. It's making the rounds all over Baltimore. And the one thing that's blessing me about it, when we show back up in the neighborhood where we've been with the peace agreement, we normally can find the same brothers who have kept their word that they don't have to die in the street, even if they got to eat in the street. We're doing a tremendous work of getting people employment to get them so they don't even have to eat that way anymore. But if we haven't come to your neighborhood, whether it be that you're a pastor, you are a community leader, give us a call. The Minute We Are Us men's movement will come and bring the peace agreement to your community. Every Thursday at 1 p.m., the Employee Baltimore show with yours truly as the host, bringing opportunities to Baltimore. Y'all, listen, we sit down and we talk to businesses that are looking to hire and looking to hire now. We had our all-staff meeting today, so we wasn't on the air, but I bet you bottom dollar we will be back next Thursday live and in color, and we'll be bringing those opportunities to you that you're looking for. Victory House Worship Center, where I'm blessed and privileged to be the lead servant. I want y'all to come on through on Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. and worship with us, pray with us, stand with us. Y'all, we doing a great work in the community down in Southwest Baltimore, known as the Lexington Terrace, Poe Homes, Carrollton, all of that. We out there, we in the streets, and we coming together in the building on Sundays at 10 a.m. You can join us also on Facebook. We broadcast it on my page, on the church's Facebook page, and on the church's YouTube. So y'all make sure y'all come on through and fellowship with us. Friday the 16th, we are having a fundraiser, y'all. We are bringing the one and only Stiletto because she loves our ministry and she does tremendous by blessing us. We don't have to have a $50 ticket. So we're having comedy and karaoke. She's going to bless us with some of her good, wholesome comedy. It's going to be good and wholesome. And we're going to finish out the night having some good, fun karaoke. That's going to be on Friday, December the 16th, 2022. Even if you're not able to attend, drop a $10 donation to VHW Center. Y'all, we're just trying to be about a good work in our community and trying to build the kingdom of God. All right, I think that's the last of all of the announcements. I'm so excited to get to these conversations tonight, y'all. So if you haven't already, make sure that you like, love, and share this broadcast. Even tag people in the comments that you want to come on, because we're going to be discussing some powerful things. And our first guest tonight is no stranger to the show. He's been on several times. He came on when he was a Republican candidate for Baltimore City Council president. And he's just a friend of the show. He's just a friend of the show. He's a friend of mine. I believe the last time he was here, Mama went through one of her episodes of sickness. He even closed the show out for me, man. This guy, he's prepared to guest host. I love this brother, and I call him friend and brother. We're talking about the one and only, the executive director of the peace movement, Jovani Patterson. Jovani, thank you for being with us tonight, brother.
What's up, Pastor Marvin?
Man, listen, I'm excited to sit down and have this conversation. I was literally at our meeting today and somebody asked me something about what we're going to be talking about. But before we do that and get to that, tell the people a little bit more about you, son of Baltimore, who's about a good work.
Yeah, man. I'm Jovani Patterson. Most recently, I am the chair of People for Elected Accountability and Civic Engagement, also known as Peace. And yeah, I just, I planted my flag here in Baltimore. My family's here. My kids were born here. Met my wife here. And I just want to see Baltimore get better. I did run for, political office back in 2020. But that was really, I guess, just the beginning. I have no aspirations to be a politician. But again, I want to see my city get better, not just for some, but for all, and especially my community. So, and then most recently, our organization Peace was able to get term limits passed, and we had overwhelming support for that. So we look forward to putting power back in the hands of the people.
So that's exactly the first thing we want to jump into tonight. When I was at our all staff today with some people talking to me because they saw that you were going to be coming on and what we were going to be talking about. And, the goal tonight is to make sure that our people are educated and to understand why it wasn't a good idea. So what we're talking about is the people, we go to the polls and in overwhelming numbers, people decide that they want term limits. And as a countermeasure, the current city council president, Nick Mosby, puts in a bill to reduce the amount of time that elected official has to serve to get a pension from 12 years to 8 years, and says that it was just a countermeasure to that bill. Talk to us about why, in fact, you were an opponent and why it was so ill received in the public.
Well, first off, our city council is supposed to be attempting to make decisions and doing things in the best interest of the public. This was a clear action that was really just self-serving. And one thing about the pensions, which I don't think, gets a lot of publicity, is that there is, you get credits for that if you worked in city government before, or if you go back and work in city government. So you can still continue to build towards your retirement or your pension in the city, because you can use those credits if you serve an 8-year term and then go to work for the city. Those 8 years count towards your pension benefits. So that's something that I don't think has really been publicized as much. But again, we're in a city that have had 300 homicides every year for the past 8 years. That's 2,400 lives, and most of them Black men, and now women and children are being included in that. We have property taxes that are double the amount of our surrounding cities and counties, which does lead to less home ownership, less generational wealth being created. and more and more blighted neighborhoods. But nothing has been done about that. But as soon as Question K is introduced, the first thing they say is, hey, we got to protect our own wallets.
So when you think about Question K, can you break down? Because I've had to educate a few people on actually Question K and how it doesn't even really affect this group that's in the council now. Can you break that down for us a little bit so people will understand what actually came out of that overwhelming 70+% voters in the city of Baltimore voting for term limits?
Right. So there's at least 2 more elections, of those of the general, the presidential election cycle elections that would happen before they would even be affected by this. So term limits doesn't go in effect until 2020. Those officials elected in 2024. So this current council isn't, or current officials, elected officials aren't affected by it. It wouldn't be affected by it until about 10 years from now. So to introduce again this pension bill was I think ill-timed, and does show the priorities of city council.
So let's shift a little bit, because I did hear today that in the last council meeting of the year for the city council, Ryan Dorsey intends on introducing another countermeasure to get it on the ballot to actually repeal what the people just voted for. I don't know what his thinking is, but I'm just perplexed that if people voted overwhelmingly for this measure, what are they hoping to be different in actually trying to put on the ballot? And I believe it's in 2024, it would be on the ballot, a countermeasure or to repeal what was just, because again, it's like it's coming from different angles. It's not getting the kind of publicity, and maybe it will if it passes through the council, but it's not getting the kind of publicity up until now that what Nick did got. But man, it seemed like they just unyielding in trying to undo what the people said.
Well, again, the crux of the efforts behind Peace Baltimore is returning power back to the hands of the people. And when you do that, there's going to be a fight, right? No one's going to give up their power easily. So what we're seeing now is the fact that they don't want to give up the power, and they're considering themselves better than the people, or more educated than the people, or smarter than the people that they're elected to serve. Because essentially what Ryan Dorsey is saying is that the people made the wrong decision. Let's reconsider. Let's do it my way, and let me stay in office for as long as I want to stay in office.
You're on Live with the Chop Shop. We come to you every Thursday. We're talking to Jovani Patterson of the Peace Organization, just about everything Baltimore. We heard today, I think as of yesterday, the Baltimore Brew broke a story surrounding Mayor Brandon Scott and some what appears to be some, I wouldn't say improprieties, because I don't believe there's anything illegal about it, but some things that really look interesting as he disavowed local business owner as it pertained to Healthy Holly situation, and now appears to be accepting campaign contributions. Can you unpack some of that for us and what's actually going on there? Because it's an interesting situation across the board.
Well, I'm still doing some, my due diligence on that situation, but it is one of those cases where it's like, it's okay if I do it, but not if you do it. And to me, this entire thing just brings up, ethics concerns, or just consistency. And are you really saying what you mean? And who are you being bought by? Like all of these things, do come up and come into play. But I would also like to call attention to what's going on in Grove Park right now, where there's an outside developer coming in to change the Grove Park elementary school that's there in Grove Park into a rehab facility. Now, this particular neighborhood is majority Black, all homeowners. If you drive through there, there's no trash on the streets. Like, it's just an example of what you want a neighborhood to look like.
For our listeners who may not know where Grove Park is, can you give them kind of what that area is?
Yeah, this is northwest, right off Wabash and Rogers, right off Wabash and Rogers. So right back in through there, and so they're turning the Grove Park Elementary School, which one used to be a voting site, so they moved the voting site over to the police center, not police, but fire department on Hilltop, which is on Ricetown Road, and then now are introducing this rehab facility in the middle of this nice black neighborhood. And what's happening is this outside developer from Ohio donated to Yitzi Slifer up in District 5, and is now the lead development person on this particular project, which again, it just shows these ethics and financial concerns that we have with our council members. Again, it just shows that they have no regard for the will of the people, despite the people of Grove Park, and that's a really good, strong community association over there. Despite the fact they're making noise about this, the deal continues.
Yeah, I've kind of noticed that if there's one district in Baltimore where it's not implicit bias, it's pure and unadulterated bias. It's up in the 5th district. I've kind of followed a lot of the work that my brother Christopher Irvin done. We got Will Hanna in the comments right now, and it seems like what we call the Tupac Heights. What is the thing that fuels these? What's happening to fuel these kinds of things, and why is nobody else speaking up about it?
Well, I think it goes to I want to take it back to what Ryan Dorsey is saying, and I think a lot of people are giving up on saying stuff about government because they feel like they're going to do what they want to do anyway, right? Overwhelmingly, people supported term limits, and just with the stroke of a pen and taking a few of his friends to lunch, he can say no, let's do this again. So I think a lot of people are losing faith in what the legislative process, the civic process, and either people are just seeing how much they can take before they leave, or just not saying anything at all.
Today there was an announcement of a impending lawsuit, and we continue to pray for the firefighters that lost their lives. I tell people they're some of the most underrated and just underrated of our public servants, the fire department, because you don't give a second thought to what it might be like to run into a burning building to save a life, because you haven't been put in that situation. However, it's something that they legitimately sign up for, and the families of those that were killed have launched a lawsuit against the city, and really at every level, the city and the state, because of vacant houses in Baltimore and how the vacancy problem has not been addressed up until now. How does that tie into what leadership has looked like and currently looks like in Baltimore when you have that kind of a situation produce that result, and now we have another lawsuit?
I mean, look, these problems aren't going to be solved overnight. And granted, I think there are a lot of things on anybody's plate that's going to take, the position of mayor or, city council, those type of things. These events that happen are tremendously unfortunate. And, I definitely, my hearts and, my thoughts and prayers are out to any family that loses a loved one. But we got to remember, it's certain policies that have gotten us to this point. And it's not going to, take one quick fix. It really takes all of us to say, hey, yeah, these policies were wrong, but I need to do something about it too. I need to either vote different. I need to, sweep off my front step. I need to, pick up my broom. Like there's a whole bunch of things that has to go into play, and they have to go into play together. I can't say like, it's hard to say, it's hard to tell somebody to fix this right now. But we can take steps towards correcting the problem. And we need to do something about these vacant houses, hold the homeowners accountable. I don't think the city needs to own as many properties as it does. And a lot of properties that the city owns, far as like the vacant properties, they're holding on to just for back taxes. These properties need to, be allowed to be redeveloped. And then the developers that come in need to be held to a stricter standard as well, not some of these shoddy developments that are going around. So if you talk to people like Munir Bahar, and he's coming back and seeing some of the developments that have happened, and some of the crappy work that gets done, like, we have to have, checks and balances in all these areas, but we have to have people, one, educated, to look into these things, and one, just willing to sound the alarm.
So let me say, because I know for peace, when it came down to question K, there was a public education campaign. How important is it that when you have an organization like yourself, like you and the other members that make up peace, that there is a lot of emphasis on public education? I'm clear that until we have a more educated electorate, and that's not an insult to anybody's intellect, but knowing how to vote. You can have a doctorate degree and don't know how to vote, right? But having a more educated electorate, we can continue to see the kind of cycles that we've seen over the last 50 or so years. How important is it that, and not only organizations like Peace, but the church, the Faith House, and others really coming together and saying, you have got to know how to vote for your interests, as opposed to identity politics, popularity politics, and those kinds of things?
Well, I mean, it's critically important, but we got to be willing to do the boring work, right? Like I sit here and read the city charter, right? If you ever have trouble sleeping, read the city charter. You will be you'll knock yourself right out. But it's the hard work that we have to do, and we have to be willing to do if we want things to get better. That city charter is essentially the operating like any organization has their their operating document. That's what operates Baltimore City. It establishes the positions. It lets you know what can make up what's made up in the budget, what funds are created within the city, how laws are created, all these things that go into play. So I think it's important to, one, for the people to know what's in it, and two, know their power. And also, I also want to remind people of what's in, the city budget. And the city budget comes out, every year. And at one of the first few pages that they put in the city budget is an organization chart of Baltimore City. And if you look at that organization chart, the first box, that top box, is the people. So one thing that we forget oftentimes is that the people are in charge. And oftentimes it is easy, just, hey, you do it, you take care of it, whatever. But then you're giving up your control, you're giving up your power. So we have to remember that we have the control. We tell them what to do, right? We are the taxpayers. They are the ones that get paid by taxes, right? So we have the control.
Jovani, I want to thank you for being with us, man. You always come, and I believe that we're better and more educated for any time you come and sit down with us. As these stories continue to develop, man, we're going to continue to reach out to you. I see Pleston jumped on here today, man. I never forget that spirited conversation.
Arch enemy number one.
I don't think y'all are.
That's my guy, man.
Yeah. And plus, you and Will, y'all in here, man. I'm reaching out. We got to get these voices on the chop shop, man, in the next few weeks. But thank you, Jovani, so much for coming on and bringing us this great information, man. We look forward to talking to you again soon. Tell the people how they can get in touch with you in Peace.
Man, first off, I appreciate you having me on, man. I can't wait till you start doing these in person too, man. I think,
we talked about it.
Yeah, you can chop it up in person, man. You got to get you a nice setup, man. Let me know. But
yes, sir.
Just follow me on Facebook. Jovani Patterson on Facebook, my page and my personal profiles on there. I do everything pretty much public. And Peace Baltimore is BeMoreAccountable.org. We're going to be updating that pretty soon, because there's going to be a lot more coming as far as the civic engagement process. We're going to be, coaching, educating, and training candidates. We're going to be teaching the public on how to be more and more involved. So those things are coming. So just stay tuned, man. This is really just the beginning of returning the power back to the people. This isn't about me. This is about Baltimore. And, I can't wait to the day where the citizens of Baltimore are like, yo, we got it.
Man, I'm looking forward to that day too. Thank you, Jovani. We will be back in touch with you soon.
Right on, brother.
All right, man. Have a good one. All right, y'all. Listen, y'all know I love Baltimore, and our mayor has done a tremendous job in making sure that he's trying to stay out of harm's way in corruption. And it's a situation that I'm watching closely, because that's one of the things that I've already applauded him for. But you can bet this: wherever there's a conversation that needs to be had about Baltimore, we're going to have it on the Chop Shop, and Jovani Patterson is going to make sure unbiased, not partisan associated, and all of that sort of thing. That he's going to come and he's going to bring the facts. So y'all continue to stay tuned in. Now, for this next segment, where we're going to shift and we're going to talk to this great kingdom leader, this man of God, embraced me as a friend and a brother. And I love this man of God, and I love his wife, and I love what they're doing out there in Woodlawn on Lord Baltimore Drive. He had a recent ordeal that he's going to tell us about, and we are going to have the conversation with him. I'm a little jealous because I saw his testimony on Facebook with 2 pictures about how he done shed a whole bunch of weight and doing all that stuff that I hope to be doing. We are talking about the one and only pastor and servant leader of the New Mount Sinai Church here in Baltimore. If you know anything about him, he's a praiser, worshiper, all of those kinds of things. But I get to call him my brother, Pastor Andre Nance. Thank you for being with us today, Pastor. How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. How about yourself?
Yeah, you look like you laid back and you relaxing, man.
Yeah.
Everybody got these good chairs. I need to get me a good chair. I'm sitting here on a stool.
Man, this chair size is a major blessing. Major blessing.
Awesome.
Yes, sir.
Before we jump into the conversation, won't you tell the people a little bit more about you, about New Mount Sinai, and all of the great things that you guys are doing? Because another thing, you are community-based ministry as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are one church serving 2 locations. We are in Woodlawn as our main campus, in Park Heights as well, 4224 Pimlico Road, where we're actually getting ready to begin to launch a Sunday worship service in the upcoming year back there.
Awesome.
If anybody watched the news, there were just 4 shootings right where the church was. And the church, we had already decided that we were going back there to have worship and do more in the community there. And we're just a church that seek after God and want to serve people, because serving God is serving others. No matter what the need is. We have a wonderful youth department. And we just love God and love people. So we're church on the move. We got a big announcement coming up in a few weeks. I'm not going to say it now. But we got a big announcement coming up, something that we're getting ready to launch in 2023. And
Awesome.
want you all to stay tuned for that as well.
Awesome. I thank you for accepting the invitation, because I kind of pulled up on you and wanted to have a conversation that really is something that is very intimate for you, because you just recently went through an ordeal. But I wanted to sit down and talk to you about this wellness thing, because, you know, in order for us to have the real conversations necessary, we got to talk to the people that have the real testimony. So talk to the people a little bit about what you've recently gone through, and how that's kind of prompt you in a way to have much more of a focus on wellness as it pertains to your life and your ministry.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, on August 14th of this year, I was preaching at the church, and around 3:20, my sermon that Sunday was reset. The Lord had been dealing with me on reset, realign, and follow his cloud. That was from our bishop who set that, and the Lord had been dealing with me with it. And that Sunday I was preaching reset, and at 3:20 p.m., I had a pop in my chest and put my head down on the pulpit, and then got back up crying, finished the sermon, prayed for 14 people. Anybody that knows me, I'm a praiser. I ran around the church at Woodlawn and into sanctuary and danced and shouted, and then sat on the end of the pulpit and lost my vision. And I asked Brother Eli, for my glasses, not knowing that I was almost dead. Afterwards, I told the church, I said, I am not going to be able to stay to greet you all. I have to go right home. And I went home, got to my car, was able to see enough to drive home, and got in the Perrin Parkway area and felt pain shoot from my neck. It was my left side, my neck down to my waist. And cried and called on the name of the Lord, and I didn't know what it was. I thought it was a muscle spasm. Got home, couldn't get out of the car, and sat there for a little while, and I finally got out, came in the house, and was about to put my I actually changed my clothes and attempted to say, well, maybe I'm just exhausted. Maybe I'm just tired. I had a busy week, and I laid in the bed to go to sleep, but God would not allow me to go to sleep. My wife came through the door. She had cooked dinner. I could barely eat. And then I said, babe, I think I need to go get checked out. And we was on our way to an express care. She said, you don't look right. So she called the ambulance, and she said something. Pastor Marvin, you know my wife. She said something. She said, you better act like you dying so they can find out what's wrong with you immediately and take you. Little did I know I was dying.
My God.
They took me in the ambulance over to Bayview. And when I got there, they immediately thought it was a blood clot. And they ran these tests, and they brought me back in, and all I could feel myself was I was going out, and I started yelling, help me, please help me. And I could see my wife as I was going out in the door, and she started saying Jesus, and started saying Jesus. And I went out, and all I know is I woke up, I was soaking wet, sweat. I don't know if it was water. And I was trying to jump off the table, and they said, no, Mr. Nance, you have to stay still. We just had to resuscitate you. I said, what? They said, you flatlined. And next to the bed was the incubator, the thing that they, put you on the life support. And I woke up, and the doctors came in at that time, and they was about 12 to 14. At number 14 keeps sticking out. And they said, Mr. Nance, you got to have immediate open heart surgery. And I was like, it's not something y'all can do. I got to go to work. I got to teach Bible study. I got to preach. I got this to do. And they said, Mr. Nance, I'm sorry to tell you, you have to have surgery now, or you're going to die. We're not going to be able to bring you back. And I put a smile on my face, and I asked them, do y'all believe in miracles? And one doctor from Gamble, he told me he was from Gambles, Maryland. He said, Mr. Nance, I believe in miracles. He said, I'm a minister at a church in Gambles, Maryland. And the only thing I remember after that is waking up in the ICU. Throat was hurting, tubes everywhere, a lot of pain. And I woke up, and everything, I just wondered what was going on. My wife was there. The Dr. Whitman from John Hopkins was there. And they began to tell me everything as the days went, what happened. And they had said to me, they said, Mr. Nance, you should have died within 10 minutes after the pop in your chest. So at 3:30, I should have dropped dead in the middle of my sermon. But God kept me alive. What I suffered was an aneurysm of my aorta, and it caused a dissection, and it was bad, which means I shouldn't even be alive. And all of it was because oftentimes we like to say the devil tried to kill me and this, that. I understand that part as well, but I failed to do my part. I wasn't eating proper. I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't taking care of my medicine, taking my medicine proper. On Sunday, I preached my first sermon in PG County, more so taught. And I talked about Peter when Jesus had told the disciples to get in the boat and go to the other side. And I hope I ain't talking too much. Stop me at any time.
No. This is
all right.
This is the good setup. Come on with it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. When Jesus had told the disciples to get in the boat after he fed the 5,000, get in the boat and go to the other side. And they got in the boat, and the Bible says in Matthew that there was a contrary wind, and Jesus left the place where he was praying because he was grieving over John the Baptist. He left the place, and he began to meet them on the water. They had just been with Jesus, but didn't recognize that they was with Jesus. He meets them on the water, and they think it's a spirit likened unto a demon. And so Peter is the one who has faith. And the instruction that Jesus gave Peter was to get in a boat and go to the other side. But Peter says, if it's you, bid me to come. And we often preach that text and say, oh, Peter had the faith to get out and walk on the water. Peter had faith, but his faith was out of context.
Mm-hmm.
I had believed that God was going to heal me from high blood pressure. I had faith, but my faith was out of context. I stopped taking my medicine without going through the proper things that I needed to be weaned off my medicine. I had faith, but it was out of context. And Peter sunk because he had faith, it was out of context, but Jesus helped him back up. It was the same thing that Jesus did to me when I flatlined the first time. The second time, Dr. Whitman said that while I was open on the table, that my heart had stopped and they had to work back on my heart. But I was running so much, doing everything, trying to take care of everybody else, eating McDonald's, Burger King, Popeyes, you name it. I was eating it, not understanding that I needed to take care of me. And so my testimony is that I'm alive, yes, because there's more, but there were some corrections that I've made some corrections. God doesn't want us to keep ministering to people while we're dying. We're killing ourselves. They taught you in the older church, and some people tell you in pain, you preach to it. No, you in pain, you need to go see what's going on with your body. You're grieving, you preach to it. Yeah, we soldiers, we tough it out, but make sure we go sit and talk with somebody, at least have a talk with Jesus.
Pastor, I want to dig into that a little bit, what you're talking about, because when we start talking about faith out of context, there are a lot of places specifically around our physical health, our emotional health, our mental health, and even our spiritual health, where we have a tendency to misapply or have an idea or concept of faith when we know faith without works is dead, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Talk to us about how easy it is to have all of those other things that we're doing. We taking care of everybody else. We preaching good. We pastoring. The church is growing. God blessing us. How that part of it, because it's one thing to talk about the side of it with the not eating right and all of that sort of thing. I think we kind of gravitate towards that immediately. But the side of it where the good things, the blessings, become that thing that conceal you or consume you to the degree, because it makes me think about when Moses sent the spies into the promised land. They told him that they had these great size of men and it had consumed the people. You know what I mean? We don't realize that the blessings can be as consuming. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yes. We tend sometimes to get caught up with not really recognizing that just as we help others and just as we serve others, that we must maintain focus and serving ourselves. For me, it was bailing people out of jail, not just one particular person, but other persons, paying people's rent, paying people's BG&E, and you see them coming to the church and you see them giving their life to Christ. You get happy. You start seeing church growth. Your worship team is doing good. You're serving. You're getting applause for everybody else. And you're doing all that. And you get so consumed that you really forget that your family needs you and you need you. And that's the danger of not having balance. Now, I'm not going to say that we're going to have balance with God. I think we need to have balance with life, because when you deal with balance, you deal with two things on a scale. God won't be equal to anything. So yes, he's top priority. What I teach at our church is something that I wasn't following myself, and I had to repent to the church and to myself. I taught God, ourselves, family, and then everybody else. I was putting everybody else even before I put God first, because you can get so lost administering to others that you don't even take time to pray in the morning. You rushing out to serve somebody, and that's not the will of the Father. And it's very dangerous. It's very dangerous. And that's where I really got lost in my journey, was that I put everybody else before me. and not understanding that. Here's the thing, Pastor Marvin, here's the thing. When I die, the next person that whoever they needed, they were going to go to them anyway. So we got to learn as pastors, as preachers, as leaders, to take some time to make sure we're okay. Take some time to make sure we're not being consumed with making everybody else win, that we end up losing. And that's a tough place to be in, and it's hard because you want people to win. And here's the hardest part about it: when you get a joy from watching others win, you got to deal with that, to say, I don't want to lose that happy place of seeing others win. But you're going to have to balance that, because you want to see you win too. It's nothing like, I used to hear of these stories. My grandmother, she's transitioned, she's gone to be with the Lord. And growing up in the apostolic church, I would see some of the bishops, and I would hear stories where they would go to build these major churches, and they would build them, but they would wear themselves out. And maybe not even a year after they build them, they transition. They didn't even get an opportunity to enjoy the promised land. I'm mighty afraid that if we as men of God don't change some stuff, we're going to build other people and things, and we'll never get a chance to enjoy what we worked all of our lives to build. And I do not believe that is God's desire, that we work, and when it's time to get to the promised land, we transition, and somebody else fight over what we sweat and bled over to build. And so, we have to have that balance within ourselves and really think about us. And it's all right to take care of you. It's all right to take yourself on a vacation. It's all right to turn your phone off. It's all right to say no. And that was a hard part. I've learned it through my process. I had one particular person that after I came home, and one person, and they told me, it texted me some things. They needed some help with something, and I said to them through a text message, I couldn't even get into bed or lay down. At the point I was sitting on my couch, and I would have to sleep sitting up, in all the pain. I think I'd been home only 3 or 4 days, and they told me they needed help with something, and my response to them was, I'm fighting for my life. And I said, I'm not sure if you heard what has happened to me. And they sent me some information of something that happened to them that was, I'm not saying it wasn't a big thing, but they didn't almost lose their life. And the next day they said, well, hey, Pastor, were you able to give me some help? I said, I'm fighting for my life. And people will be insensitive. As long as you got breath in your body, they will pull on you, and they will pull on you till it weigh on you. But you have the ability to say no. Amen. And I've learned that process. No. And I don't feel no kind of way about it. No, I can't do it. No, I can't help you. No, I'm not answering the phone. You belong to God, and my responsibility is to teach you, not keep taking you to fish, but teach you how to fish. Amen. So I can go and enjoy life for me.
You on live with the Chop Shop. We come to you every Thursday at 6 p.m. Pastor, I wanted to sneak this question into you as it pertains to me being a new pastor, and we have this family, this extended family we call church family, and it really is family, because you find yourself in some spaces spending more time with them than some branches of your natural family. What kind of reconditioning and restructuring, or was there any reconditioning and restructuring of the people in the church so that they would understand how not having certain things in place contributed to the situation that you underwent?
Yeah. So the restructuring, reconditioning it started with me, because most pastors have to trust God, that God has sent you what you need. They may not do it the way you want it done right away, but that's when you have to teach them. One of the things that I didn't recognize was everything that New Mount Sinai needed was in the house. If it was a need, let me do it. If it was something, let me do it. If a bill needed to be paid, I wasn't one that kind of fleeced. I don't fleece people for offerings. Before I got sick, we were given, my wife and I were given $2,000, $2,500 a month, if not more than that, besides tithes and offerings. Some Sundays, $1,000 offering. Some Sundays, $1,500 offering. Because I worked, great job, didn't take a salary, still don't take a salary. They force me now to take some stuff because I'm not able to work. But I didn't take a salary. They would give me an anniversary. I give everything back to the church. And I was just like, I want the church to be okay. But the restructuring was for me first to allow those that God had sent to help, let them help. Back to that story, Jesus came on the water to help the disciples, but they didn't recognize that the help was there. They thought the help was something else. They thought it was a demon because it didn't look like what their idea of help was. They thought Jesus was a spirit. They thought he was a demon. It didn't look like what we needed at the time. What I've learned to do is to allow who God sends, to allow them to grow in their gift and allow them to serve, and me take a step back and allow them to work. So many of the leaders have stepped up, and you'll be surprised as pastors who will step up when you step back. As I step back, I have seen people sitting in our church, and I'm like, I didn't even know they was gifted to do this. I'm too busy trying to help them. I'm taking the ability from them to help build the kingdom. And so the restructuring first started with me to recognize I can't do it all by myself. God didn't call me to do it all. God didn't call us pastors to do it all. And we got to allow the gifts, and we have to trust the God that has given them the gift and trust the God that they say that they have. There's checks and balance systems that we should have. There's structure. There's rules and regulations I think that you should have according to what God has given you as a pastor. But also people are gifted and anointed, and we have to allow them to do that. And since I've been back, I haven't had to really do anything. Like I said, first time I preached was in PG County, which was this past Sunday. This Sunday is the first Sunday I'll stand to declare the word in the pulpit since August. Not a Sunday there have not been a word, regardless of the preachers we invited in. The preachers in-house have taught Bible study. Thank God for my wife. She has led this church. And I even seen more in her that God had given her because I was able to step back. She's amazing with what she's led the church. She's led the leaders and continuing to do so. So now that I'm back up, guess what I'm doing, Pastor? I'm still chilling out. I'm not coming back in to take over everything and do that. No. The church is growing. This Sunday, we had 5 people join the church. 5 people joined the church this Sunday. And so I'm just like, when we as leaders understand that God has given us the vision, but he's given us the people to carry out the vision, we can step back and allow the structure that's been placed to actually be what will grow the church.
You're on Live with the Chop Shop. We come to you every Thursday at 6 p.m. We talking to great man of God, my friend and my brother, Pastor Andre Nance of the New Mount Sinai Church. Pastor, I want you to kind of unpack that a little bit because I remember the hard place I was in because I needed to respect your family space, but my heart was so out there towards your family at the time. The impact of this thing on your family. And you talked about how your wife rose up and literally was everything that God would ever need her to be by your side in ministry. But talk about the impact on your family of what you've gone through and how it has strengthened you guys as a family.
Yes, it's definitely strengthened us all. One thing that I'm learning and that we've grabbed hold to is back to spending some time together. I'm home a lot. She's home a lot. My oldest son, he works pretty late, but he's home. We have conversations. It impacted us, one, because I was the major breadwinner for the house. And I didn't have any income, still don't really have any income coming in. I'm literally, as they say, walking by faith. it's a little bit of money coming in. So it impacted. We was not able to do certain things or luxuries that we would normally do, because what comes in has to be saved. It's got to be, you have to practice better stewardship because you just don't know. So it's impacted us in a way where we're not able to do the other things we used to do, but it also has changed us to let us know we didn't need that stuff anyway. We didn't need to do that. We didn't need to be eating out. We went over some bank statements the other day, and I think one particular month we spent like $3,000 in eating out. That was crazy.
Yeah, been there, done that.
So being in this place, I'm like, we're gonna cook. We're gonna cook. We're gonna eat as a family. We're not gonna do that. So some of those things change, and it helps to better. My children has looked at me, and they want to make sure I'm okay. Everybody's being more conscious of what they eat, being more conscious of making sure that they rest, or just showing forth love to one another, because you just don't know what the next moment will be, And it first starts with the man of the house. It first starts with me setting that tone and setting that temperature of what I want to see in the home. And so it's definitely taken an impact on us, but I think we have come out, and I believe we have come out better. We are better as a family all together.
Pastor, I want to thank you for being with us tonight. We got about 2 minutes left. What I want you to do is I want you to give the people a word of encouragement, then tell them how they connect with you in New Mount Sinai. And you have my word that this will not be the last time that you are on the Chop Shop. I'm so blessed, man, because I was just talking to my church last night in our Bible study session about how, the word of God came to Moses at the enemy that you see today, and how I got 2 sets of suits in my closet. I got some 52s and some 48s. And that's because I be too scared to throw them away, because I keep going up and down, up and down, up and down. And I've myself been so inspired by this journey, and to be able to walk it with me. And I think this is the first time, because I've been to the church, but we haven't had a chance for me to really sit down and you to unpack this thing. And I know that there are people that have been tremendously blessed by everything that you shared with us tonight.
Yes. So I just want to encourage everybody that's watching or will watch, make God your number one choice, but it is God's desire that you take care of you. It is his desire that you prosper in health, mentally, physically. Don't take on too much. Understand everybody's problem is not your problem, and learn the word no. Learn the word no. Make sure you love your family, love one another. Some arguments isn't worth it, but I want everybody to be encouraged to take some time to reset your life, realign your life, and follow God. Reset, realign, and follow the clouds. God has great things for us, but he wants us to take our time. There's no need to rush. You're going to get there. You're going to get to the other side. You can't die before you get there, but you sure don't have to be sick while trying to get there. He wants you to be well. And so take care of yourself. Take care of your family. Take care of your loved ones. Those that are watching in ministry, don't be so consumed over things that you have no control over. Pray and allow God to send the help. When he send the help, let the help be the help. And you continue to trust God.
Tell everybody how they can connect with you in New Mount Sinai.
Yes, we are located at 2624. I think I got the address right. Lord Baltimore Drive, Suite D&E, on Sundays at 1:30. Tuesdays, we are there in Bible study at 7:00. And we would love for you to join us in worship. Right now, we are off the air. We're not streaming. There's some other things that we've got to take care of, but I'm not considering streaming at all right now, because I want us to focus on what we need to focus on, which is the growth and of worship. Too much on Facebook anyway. Everybody trying to compete with this person. Don't feel like that anymore. And so we're not streaming, so I can't tell you to join us on stream, but come on out and join us. we'd love to have you. We're there at 1:30. Sunday school starts at 12:30. Worship starts at 1:30. 2624 Lower Baltimore Drive, Woodlawn, Maryland, and Suite D and E. And we'd love to have you there.
Man, listen, I'm trying to tell y'all, listen, what you do, you go up there at 1:30 after your 10 or 11 o'clock, and you get that second hit, especially if you're a leader, because I love going up there and I get to sit down and don't have to do a thing but feast. I do have to give God a praise, but I ain't got to do nothing else. Man, I love you so much, man. I love you, man.
Love you, man.
I'm just blessed and better for the day that we became more acquainted because we knew of each other, but we got more acquainted, man. And I just honor you for the man of God that you are, and even your transparency tonight. As I said, I know that somebody is blessed, and we're going to be praying with you about the upcoming announcement, about the transition back to the Park Heights community. You know, I love the streets. So anything that you're going to be having going on up there, we want to definitely come out and make sure we support, whether we bring in some jobs or whatever else it is that we need to do to make sure that we're undergirding the great work that you're going to be doing in that great community. I just want to make sure that we are present and supportive, so it ain't just love in words, but it's love in action.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
All right,
Yes,
all right. Thank you, Pastor Andre Nance. We want to again thank Mr. Jovani Patterson for being with us tonight. Jovani is always, as I said, he's ready for the conversation as we talk about Baltimore. I want to thank my right hand and my left hand, my main man, Mr. Shaka Pitts, who's always on the ones and twos, making the magic happen behind the scenes. And I want to thank you. I always say if a tree falls in the woods and nobody's around to hear it, does it make a sound? Of course it does. It just was nobody there to hear it. You guys show up, and you're going to see whether it's the Baltimore segment or the Kingdom segment that you're going to be showing up to hear from some people who are going to educate you and bless your life. I believe that there are going to be so many people who are better because they hear this show with Pastor Andre tonight. We don't do the best at taking care of ourselves, and if we need and desire to do better, we have the information that we need in order to do it better. Somebody put in the comment section, no more excuses. We gonna do what we gotta do to be better. And Andre Dowdy Jr. said, that's right, Pastor, 2624 Lord Baltimore Drive. I want to thank those that have rode with us tonight. Evangelist Dee, my sister, Danielle Bullock. Yep, that's one of my sisters. My sister Octavia Dozier, we're keeping her in prayer. Tragedy has struck her family in a major way. Lisha Gibson, Pastor Sharon Spence, one of my favorite people in the world. Ra, my chief of staff, Maurice McCoy. What's up, Pastor McCoy? All of you that stopped through tonight, we just thank you for riding with us. In closing, as I always say, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not to your own understanding, and in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. Be the change that you want to see. If you're in a space, area, organization, job, business, whatever, and there's something that needs to be fixed, don't talk about it, be about it. Go and do what's necessary to be the blessing that's needed in that space. And above and beyond anything else, always remember that you can be more. Love you and thank God for you.
Be more. There's nothing that I can't achieve if I just believe. You can be more. You can make every dream a reality. We can be more. Be more, be more.
Yeah.
I can be more.
I wake up every day and try to be more. I pray I be more. It's easy to achieve anything you believe. Like hold your head high. Girl, you got a reason to breathe. I see a rare mind. Boy, you got a reason to dream. Let's take flight. Give the children a reason to see redemption. We grow up in the jacks where it's evil and wicked.